All right, Cody, you know what? Stop the music, please. Stop the music. Stop it cold. Thank you very much. Folks, this is Howard Riell, Real Truth. You know, I just can't abide dishonesty and hypocrisy. And I especially can't abide journalists acting like PR flacks. I've been a journalist for 37 years. I've never done that. Of course, I've never gotten rich on network news either, but when you become a journalist, there's a certain responsibility that should come with that. That's what I was taught, and that's what I've always done. You got to be honest. You got to present the objective facts. Let people draw their own conclusions. That's why no one trusts the media today. Item from the Washington Post. Listen to this now. The window for stopping Donald Trump closed almost completely Tuesday night, leaving the demoralized anti-Trump forces with 2 weeks and no agreed-upon strategy for denying the New York billionaire the Republican presidential nomination. Trump pulled out victories in a majority of the 11 contests that made up the biggest single primary caucus night of the nominating season. His remaining rivals, Ted Cruz, Texas Senator Rubio of Florida, Ohio Governor John Kasich, and their allies were left to cling to the flimsiest of hopes that a reversal of his fortunes still lies in the near horizon. Stop. We're seeing something completely unprecedented, and the media is involved up to the hilt. We've got Republicans who've got a Republican candidate wildly popular, more popular than they could ever have hoped for, and instead of rejoicing with that, they're trying to stop him. They're trying to take his legs out from under him. You got Republicans forming a PAC armed with millions of dollars whose goal is nothing other than stopping Trump. You got Republicans saying they would sooner vote for Hillary than Trump. Well, if you ask me, those people aren't Republicans, and they certainly shouldn't be Republican representatives or leaders. You got people in this country saying they're going to leave this country if Trump becomes president. You've got the media pumping out this racism crap, which is total nonsense. Trump has no racism at all in his message. He's got nothing against Mexicans, nothing against Muslims. He never knew from David Duke. But you listen to the media, and the simple-minded among us come away with the message that, oh, Trump must be a racist. He's not. I was just watching someone on TV yesterday saying that Trump wants socialized medicine. I was completely baffled. So was the host. I think it was Wolf Blitzer. Trump has never said socialized medicine. In fact, he wants to open health insurance up to competition, private companies in competition, which is exactly the opposite of socialized healthcare. But the guy on TV didn't care. As long as he said it enough, it would stick in people's minds. Which brings us to David Duke. They mention David Duke and Trump often enough. Doesn't matter if it's pure crap. Doesn't matter if Trump has already disavowed David Duke. All that matters is continuing to repeat David Duke, Donald Trump enough so the simple-minded among us will make that mental connection. How many times have they been saying to Ted Cruz, who knows about the mafia? What about Trump and the mafia? What about Trump? There's no sign that Trump is connected to the mafia. They only want to say it often enough to make it stick in the minds of the simple-minded. Then you've got Marco Rubio, who's supposed to be the establishment's pretty boy. He's out there trying to sound like the poor man's Don Rickles. He's trying to be funny at Donald Trump's expense, making jokes about his orange skin, his orange hair, his spelling, his grammar, the size of his manhood. This is a guy who wants to be president? This is a U.S. senator? Now you've got Mitt Romney. Stone cold loser from the word go, couldn't get elected dog catcher, lost to, of all people, Barack Obama after Obama had eviscerated this country, still couldn't get elected. But now the media is pushing him as some kind of an authoritative voice. He'll be making an address. America would do well to forget Mitt Romney's address and stay out of touch with him. They're hoping Rubio can limp to the convention in Cleveland so they can have a brokered convention and, well, they won't say it, but I will, somehow steal the nomination from Donald Trump. The Republicans say they want to reach out to more Americans than ever before, Only one of them is doing it, Donald Trump. His appeal is crossing all demographic lines: race, age, education, economics. He's getting the Christian vote that was supposed to go to Ted Cruz, the evangelical vote. He's getting people from states nowhere near each other. He's doing exactly what the Republicans have been saying they want to do, and they still want to destroy him. Meanwhile, the press is ignoring the Hillary scandals, the scandals going back 20 years or more. They're ignoring all the lies. They're ignoring all the emails that put American lives and security in danger. They're ignoring what happened to our ambassador. They're ignoring her incompetence, her lack of any real accomplishment, the fact that the youth in this country don't like her. They're ignoring the fact that her husband has been accused of sexually molesting women for decades. They're avoiding talking about Hillary's close relationship with Robert Byrd, former Ku Klux Klanman, and her cozy relationship with Al Sharpton, who's a race hustler and a tax cheat. The Democrats are getting low turnouts while Trump is getting spectacular turnouts, and they're giving Hillary a pass. They're not talking about anything about that. Even Bernie Sanders isn't talking about Abu Ghraib or the emails or Whitewater or Benghazi or her ties to Huma Abedin, who supposedly has ties to terrorist organizations. They're not talking anymore about Hillary Clinton and Goldman Sachs and the speeches she gave and the millions of dollars she's made. They're giving Hillary a complete pass. Take a look at the people who hate Donald Trump. Illegal aliens, Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico, who wants more illegal aliens coming to America, the political hacks, the establishment, Muslim terrorists, China, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, all those scums hate Donald Trump. What does that tell you? When the bad guys hate someone, he must be a good guy. Even Tom DeLay, the Republican. Trump will tear the party apart? Thank God, I've been waiting for someone to tear this political machine apart. If America is to go forward, the political machine, the party establishment, the Republicans, who've done nothing for years and years, must be torn apart, replaced hopefully with a new Republican Party that actually will represent the people. Okay, I got the wind at my back today, my friends. We're going to have real truth today. I got a lot for you. Go nowhere. Stay tuned. Not bad. I thought that was a little too subtle, a little too nuanced. I'm not sure I really conveyed any emotion in that segment. I'll try harder in the next one.
Officials in government be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Fort Collins Radiator Shop reminds that child abuse is one of America's saddest crimes. Child abuse is not just some other family problem. If you or anyone you know needs help, call your local authority. This message from the Fort Collins Radiator Shop, 417 Jefferson Street in Fort Collins, serving the community for over 47 years. For all your radiator repairs, call 970-482-6783 on the air for our children.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
And by the way, guys, you should be every bit as angry as I am. The Republican Party is trying to disenfranchise Republican voters. They're trying to take our choice away from us and replace it with their choice. Well, that's what oligarchies do. That's what fascist regimes do. It's not supposed to be what America does. And I thought Republicans valued American values. Now here's an honest guy, Mike Huckabee. Former governor of Arkansas, dropped out of the presidential race a few weeks ago. He's talking about the possibility, here he is on Fox News, the possibility of a brokered convention. In other words, a possibility for the Republicans to steal the nomination from Donald Trump. Let's listen to Mr. Huckabee.
Here's a question. After last night, will the Republican establishment finally get behind Donald Trump, who now seems unstoppable on the Republican side? Joining us right now with his reaction is the former presidential candidate himself, the former Arkansas governor, Fox News contributor Mike Huckabee. In full disclosure, his daughter is working with the Donald Trump campaign. Governor, great to see you.
Good to see you, Brian. Great to be with all of you today.
Well, Governor, I don't have to tell you, there's an anti-Trump super PAC out there. They just enlisted Tim Miller, the communications director for Jeb Bush. They're desperate to stop Donald Trump. Your reaction?
Well, I'm not endorsed a candidate. I'm not planning to. Yes, my daughter's now working with the Trump campaign. By the way, her name is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and Huckabee Sanders is not a proposed ticket. I just want you to know that. But here's what I think is happening. The establishment Republicans are all, bedwetting over this, and they don't seem to understand that we have an election. Look, I just believe that at some point we need to recognize, if you want to oppose Donald Trump, do it. But don't pretend that somehow that all these voters who have gone out and voted for him are stupid. They're not stupid. I'll tell you what they are. They're angry. And they're angry at the very establishment who is going nuts because Donald Trump is doing so well. And they don't get it, that they're the problem. They are the problem.
You know what, Governor? And so I was clicking around all the channels, and you saw these party pundits who were on the television shows, and they were talking about how, okay, it's going to have to be a brokered convention, and then Trump's going to have the most, but then on the second vote, that's when we're going to be able to screw him, and somebody else can be president.
It is so ridiculous. Let's remember that we have an election process, not a selection process. If we're going to do a selection where some party bosses get together and they close the doors, lock the doors, and get behind and make the decision for us, then don't waste our time and money going through this long, lengthy, grueling process called an election. Just anoint somebody and let's be done with it. But that's why we have an election. And if Donald Trump is the nominee, then I challenge Republicans to get behind him. If it's Ted Cruz, get behind him. If it's Marco Rubio, get behind him. If it's Ben Carson, John Kasich. That's what we do as a party.
All right, I wanted to ask you about being a Baptist minister. Are you still with the church, or are you still a minister?
Well, no, I haven't been a pastor in 30 years. I mean, I'm a Christian. I haven't lost that, but I haven't been a pastor in almost 30 years.
Well, the evangelical vote. As a Christian too, I was a little bit surprised because Cruz has been backed by the Tea Party. I was shocked that Donald Trump was getting the evangelical vote. There's an editorial in the Washington Post saying that evangelicals are putting faith aside because they're just sick of losing. What do you make of all that?
Well, I'll tell you what I make of it. Here's what the media does, because the media is lazy and stupid. Here's how the media sees the world. You got your blacks, you got your whites, you got your Latinos, you got your gays, you got your evangelicals, and the media pigeonholes each of those groups. So if you're black, you must vote Democrat. If you're white, you must vote Republican. If you're evangelical, you must vote for Cruz. Well, folks, life's not like that. Life is far too complex for that. Why would evangelicals go to Trump? Because evangelicals are people, thinking people. And they decide, hopefully, and I think they did, based on the issues, based on the candidates, they decided who the best choice would be for America. And for them, of course. Stop painting with a wide brush. Stop turning people into caricatures. We're not. We're human beings. We don't act monolithically. The evangelicals who wanted to vote for Cruz did. The ones who wanted to vote for Trump did. The only ones who are shocked by this are the major media because they've got to have these pigeonholed, two-dimensional cartoon characters. That's how they see the country, and that's why they're so often way off in the weeds while real life is happening. Let's go back to Governor Huckabee.
Well, look, last night was a good night for Cruz in that he won Texas, Oklahoma, and Alaska. It was a bad night for Cruz because his rationale for winning the nomination has always been, I'm going to sweep South Carolina and the SEC states. Well, he basically lost all of those. So he won his home state and the state next to it. That makes it tough for him. But I think the big mistake that people have made is this notion that evangelicals are largely single monolithic voters that vote one thing. And
exactly.
That's not true. Look, they're the ones, they've lost jobs. Their kids can't go to college because they can't afford it. They've got adult kids back home with them. They're living the same life the rest of America lives. And what they are tired of is giving their support to someone who says, oh, we're with you. And when they get elected, they don't do one stinking thing to change Planned Parenthood funding, the Iranian deal, Obamacare, trade policies that kill their jobs.
But I want to bring
These are just Americans.
And we know Arkansas was a major victory because the governor was going for Cruz and ended up going to...
Well, he went for Rubio. The governor went for Rubio.
Rubio, I should say, and ended up going to Trump. But I want you to hear Paul Ryan yesterday at around noon. He scrambled to the microphone to say this and really used everything except Donald Trump's name. Listen.
I want to be very clear about something. If a person wants to be the nominee of the Republican Party, there can be no evasion and no games. They must reject any group or cause that is built on bigotry.
I'm going to get along great with Congress, okay? Paul Ryan, I don't know him well, but I'm sure I'm going to get along great with him. And if I don't, he's going to have to pay a big price, okay? Your reaction to that? Ryan and McConnell saying something very similar?
You know, look, Donald Trump disavowed David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan so many times from Friday through Monday that, the one time that he seemed to stumble a little bit, he said it was his earpiece. I don't know what he heard in his earpiece because I wasn't there. Yeah. But I don't think there's any question that Donald Trump is not some kind of racist bigot, and for people to pretend that that's our big concern. And I thought Donald Trump last night in his press conference, I thought that was a stroke of genius, and he came across very conciliatory. He was a lot nicer to Ryan than Ryan was to him. And Paul Ryan and other people in Washington need to recognize the reason that Trump is winning is because they feel like people in Washington have helped them lose, and they're sick of it. They've worked hard to get them elected, and when they get there, they don't do anything different. And I'll tell you why. 3 words: follow the money. The donor class runs the political environment of this country, and people are waking up to that, and they are tired of it. And that's what this election is largely about. It's an overthrow of the government, and you know what we ought to be? Glad that it is a peaceful revolution with ballots rather than one with bullets. And we're having, in many ways, somewhat of a political revolution in the Republican Party and in the country.
And by the way, Donald Trump was nicer to Paul Ryan than I will be. Paul Ryan is a whore. Paul Ryan is the typical, stereotypical, sent from Central Casting political hack. Paul Ryan is the face of the machine. And if you know what that means, the machine is the thing that has its boot on your neck. The machine is the thing that says, screw the American people. We want what's good for us, for the Beltway class, for the elitists, for the big shots. Paul Ryan is all of that congealed into one little guy. He doesn't care about you. He cares about the party. Well, what is the party from his perspective? The party is all the big money donors and all the politicians. That's the party to him. Somehow Paul Ryan squirreled into this position that he now has. And it's because he's a gatekeeper. He's protecting the party. Doesn't give a rat's ass about Republican voters or the American people. He's protecting the party. And so when he attacks Donald Trump, well, he clearly doesn't get it. Just like Huckabee said. Ryan doesn't get the fact that he, Ryan, and everything he represents is the problem. He is the reason that record numbers of people are coming to the voting booths now and voting for Trump because they don't want Paul Ryan or his kind. We've had it up to here with politics as usual, party politics, power politics, money politics, and it's killing the American people. So fools like Marco Rubio can get up in public and scream about the size of Donald Trump's hands. And Ted Cruz can go on TV and say mafia as many times as he wants. And David Duke as many times as he wants. Because these guys don't get it. They are the problem. They are the problem. They are the cause of all the anger and the frustration and the resentment all across America. Not just Republicans, Democrats too, which explains Bernie Sanders. Ryan and his people, they don't get it. They don't feel like they need to get it. They don't want to get it. They're doing just fine without getting it. But they're going to find their asses out of jobs if they don't get with it. If they don't remember that this is America, where it's government by the people, of the people, and for the people, not the party. In the Soviet Union, the party was everything. In Germany, it was the Nazi party. Not in America. In America, the people rule. And when the people don't rule, as we see is happening now, the people take power back. That's why Donald Trump is soaring to new heights and reaching across all demographic categories and picking up states all over the eastern and central part of this country so far. That's why Trump's candidacy is a movement. Because it's America striking back at the Paul Ryans. And it's high time we did it. Let's move forward. Item from Breitbart. GOP presidential frontrunner Donald Trump's vow to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border seems to be spurring more illegal immigration in recent months, according to Reuters. The news agency says there's been an increase in illegal immigration at the southern border as migrants seek to make it into the United States illegally before Trump gets into office, and it's too late. They think they need to take advantage while they can, said Blanca Rivera, manager of the Ciudad Juarez migrant shelter. She said this to Reuters. Rivera noted she's seen the recent increase in northward migration, unquote. The illegals are making a run for the border, literally, because they know Trump is not a liar, because they know Trump is honest, because they know Trump will do what he says he'll do. He walks his talk. When he becomes president, he will slam that border shut. Folks, isn't that what you want in a president? Someone who keeps his word? Someone who does what he says he's going to do? Someone who realizes we need a secure border? Someone who wants to stop millions of people from breaking our laws and coming here illegally? Isn't that the bare minimum of what we want from a president? Cruz won't do it. Rubio won't do it. Paul Ryan, sitting in his office in Washington, D.C., won't do it. Trump will do it. You know it. I know it. The Mexicans know it. That's why Vicente Fox is cursing up a storm on TV. It's why the illegals are scrambling to get into America now, before Trump becomes president. Because they know after he becomes president, they won't be able to. They'll be shut out. Nothing could be better for America to have real, honest-to-goodness border security. For the 11 or 12, or some people say 20 million illegals here, they go. They go because crime must never pay. There must always be justice. And we have to reestablish once again that when you break the law, there's a penalty to be paid. You come here illegally, you go. And if it takes suing the companies who hire the illegals into bankruptcy, that's what we need to do too. Don't have enough jobs in America. The jobs we do have need to go to Americans. We'll be back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948.
Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981. Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities as modest emergency lighting all the way to commercial-scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. The world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
You see, what it is I just can't stand dishonesty and hypocrisy. They just go against my grain. And that's why I get so worked up. Anyway, here's David Knight on InfoWars talking about all the dirty tricks, all the under the table, behind the back, backstabbing crap going on, trying to get Donald Trump out of the race for president, despite the fact that record numbers of people want him to be president. Here's David Knight.
Of course, it's the last couple of days before a very big election. Super Tuesday is tomorrow. And we have everyone getting their Gollum on, as we pointed out, as we're going to break, calling people tricksy, false, liar, murderer. Let's take a look at that last charge, murderer, and look at who it's coming from. None other than Michael Hayden, former NSA CIA director, Clinton appointee, who is now wading into the presidential race, going on Fox News and other places, complaining about Donald Trump. What would a Donald Trump presidency actually look like? Asked Huffington Post. So they asked this guy who has been part of the disposition matrix, where they assassinate people with drones, okay? Where they spy on every aspect of our lives, and he has had the audacity to go on programs with Judge Napolitano saying, I'm a libertarian. It's like, yeah, right, you're a libertarian, okay? But here's where he comes up and he takes this libertarian pose again in terms of criticizing Donald Trump. He says, if Trump were to make good on his vow to kill terrorist family members, the U.S. military, he said, would refuse to act. He said, you're required not to follow an unlawful order. That would be a violation of all the international laws of armed conflicts. Yeah, it would also be a violation of the Constitution. But of course, Michael Hayden doesn't seem to care about the Constitution. And we need to take that phrase from Michael Hayden thrown out in the heat of an election, and we need to put that on a plaque on the wall so that people in the military, people in the NSA, in the CIA, understand that there are laws that transcend the orders from people like Michael Hayden. We need to understand that. He's calling people to stand up in a way against, as people were called on to do in the Nuremberg trial, saying you don't excuse this action by saying I was just following orders. That's very true. So I hope he remembers that as we progress into the police state, as we continue down this road that he has pushed us down so many times. And I think that in one way, if Donald Trump takes an authoritarian bent as he is talking, as he does the same things that the GOP, the rest of the GOP candidates are saying, as the Democrats have done, bragging that they're going to step up the authoritarian police state, Donald Trump might actually help us to push this back by talking about it. It actually might wake people up, especially when we see things like the libel laws versus First Amendment. Understand that we are not electing a dictator. There are ways that we can push back and must push back against all of these people, not just a Donald Trump, but against, say, President Cruz or Rubio or Obama or Hillary Clinton. They all want to take our freedoms. We must push back on our own, individually refusing to do what they say, and collectively at our state and local levels, even with jury nullification as an individual. Let's look at what Cruz is doing. Cruz is taking the canard that was put out there by Romney, saying we're going to take a look at his tax returns. I'm sure there's bombshell stuff in there. So Cruz is taking it to the next level, talking about mafia ties. He said maybe it's the case that Donald's business dealings with the mob, with the mafia, maybe his taxes show these business dealings. That is a sign of desperation. He says Donald seems to be terrified to release his taxes. It suggests there might be a bombshell there. Well, you know what? I would be far more interested in Ted Cruz if he would complain about the IRS acting like a mafia. Remember the IRS that came after and still continues to go after its political enemies in the Tea Party? The IRS that Ted Cruz at one point in time said we need to shut down? Well, he's shut up about that, hasn't he? He doesn't seem to have a problem with the IRS now. If the IRS is auditing you, maybe you're a criminal or a terrorist, according to Ted Cruz now, because it suits his position to try to tear somebody down. Look at what the Daily News is doing in New York. Of course, this is a rag that has criticized Donald Trump over and over again, but also calling the NRA's Wayne LaPierre a terrorist multiple times. Now what they're saying is this event that happened today in Virginia, where a time photographer was slammed to the ground by a Secret Service agent, they're reporting many hours after the rest of the media is reporting that it was a Secret Service agent. It wasn't somebody that was hired by Donald Trump. They're continuing to report that it was Trump's security. They have it in the headlines there, you can see. The caption to the picture says, Trump security slams a photographer to the ground. Then they say, shows him on his back, futilely kicking as a member of Trump's security detail did this to him. The security officer grabbed his neck, briefly choked him during the takedown. And then they talk about what happened. I never punched him, said Morris. I never touched him. But they said, but the video shows that he did reach for the security officer's throat, continually referring to it as the security officer until the very last two paragraphs, where the New York Daily News, in a fit of a little bit of honesty, I guess, trying to protect themselves from accusations of being a biased rag, as they truly are, said, it is unclear whether the security staffer was a member of Trump's Secret Service detail or a member of his private security team. Other reporters there said he was wearing a badge on his hip and a red lapel pin, which is normally worn by government agents. And yes, the rest of the news media has pretty much reported that it was a Secret Service agent, except for those who were incredibly biased, like the New York Daily News.
My friends, get that point. The New York Daily News, the owner of the paper, hates Trump, period. If Trump cured cancer, they would slam him on the front page. They knew that it was not a Trump security officer. They knew it was Secret Service, and they left it out of the article until the last paragraph. That's one of the ways that the media swerves us and spins us and propagandizes us. Let's call a spade a spade. It's how they lie to us. If you call the reporter or the editor on that piece, they'll say, oh, we mentioned the Secret Service. Yeah, but they did it way at the bottom, only after giving you the wrong information, which just coincidentally would make Donald Trump look bad. See how dishonest the media has become? It's shocking and it's shameful. The media is supposed to be a watchdog. Instead, it's a lapdog for the powers that be. It's supposed to ease the afflicted and afflict the at ease. And it's not doing that. It's falling down on the job. Let's have one more minute of David Knight.
Again, the claims to take down Donald Trump, saying that he is a Ku Klux Klan supporter because we have David Duke coming out and saying that he supports him. He was defended by Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee said, and this is reported on Politico, does anybody really think that Donald Trump is a racist? Huckabee said on MSNBC's Morning Joe show, he said, David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan are absolutely abominable. I don't know anybody that I've ever known that supports them. And look, I think there's an incredible, just an overwhelming fascination. I've been watching this morning, but look, let me ask you this. Do you think Hillary Clinton is going to have to answer for her relationship with Senator Robert Byrd, who was an actual member of the KKK? A high-ranking member, I would add. Look, I'm not trying to defend, but maybe in an unartful way, and then he has a comeback from Joe Scarborough. Mike Huckabee comes back and says, does anybody really think Donald Trump is a racist? I don't know anything in his life that indicates this man has racist tendencies.
All right, folks, I put the video on my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. We're almost out of time, so go there and watch it. But the media is complicit in the lies and the hypocrisy and the defeat, the attempted defeat of the American voter. The media is complicit. It's shameful, and it's shocking, and it's one of the many, many things that we better turn around and get right for a change. I'll be back. All right, guys, all done. Please share this video. Talk about what you've heard on it. I'll see you tomorrow.